Good morning. My name is Dorothy Cook. I'm reading to you the emails that I've sent to DPI, to the Wilson County Schools Attorney, Rachel B. Hitch, and to others in regards to get my daughters, and my minor daughter especially, Megan Cook, into public school system. She's been going without an education for consistently 2 whole public school years now. And that is a problem for myself, because in North Carolina law, the attendance law only includes the parents, guardian, students, or children. The North Carolina public school officials are not included in the law. And therefore, when I went to the district attorney, or contacted the district attorney's office, I was told that there was no means of filing criminal prosecution against the Wilson County public school officials, because there are no grounds. There's no law on the book for them to be criminally prosecuted by, because of the truancy issue in which they're causing for my daughter, well, daughters. But I do say that my goal is to contact, and also I did contact, but to get some results from the North Carolina General Assembly members, and to let them know that it's time for a change. They need to actually amend the North Carolina attendance law and include the North Carolina public school officials, so there will be a provision. Justice should not be for some, but it should be for all. And also, North Carolina DPI should be held accountable also, because they knew. Even the North Carolina State Superintendent, June Axon, the North Carolina State School Board members, the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction's Exceptional Children's Program Director or Division Director, he knew. And I have an email which I read that actually I had sent to him after several other times, I mean many of times, because I know they knew, because I made email contact with them, sharing the information with them. This is an email that I had sent to Mr. First, his name was Bill Hussey, as being the director for the Exceptional Children Division for the Department of Public Instruction. But according to the North Carolina State Superintendent, Mr. June Atkinson, his name is also William Hussey, as she changed his name during one of the emails that she sent. And I questioned which one of them, which name does his check come under, because I want to be exactly when I write down names and give information out. And she did not respond back, you know, because I want to make sure that I'm saying the right thing. So if Bill Hussey and William Hussey, she says is the same person, but according to the names that he sent on a letter that I received from him, he only has one name. And if the school system, North Carolina DPI, is paying 2 persons for 1 job, or 2 individuals, and it's actually only 1 person with that job, then that's something else that needs to be looked into. But this email, in which I'll let you see a copy of it, well, some of it that you can see, but I'm going to read it myself. It says, "Dear Mr. William Hussey, North Carolina DPI, Director of Exceptional Children Division, I, Dorothy Cook, did just notice that you are addressed in the email from North Carolina State Superintendent as Bill Hussey at hussey@nc.dpi.gov. And it goes down to say, to Bill Hussey, it's to June Atkinson, to T. Lucas, who is a county commissioner, to L. Atkinson, who is a county commissioner, to T. Piner, who's a county commissioner, R. Lucas, who's a county commissioner, C. K. Hill, who is a Wilson County's commissioners, B. Jones, who are Wilson County commissioner, R. Boyette, which is a Wilson County commissioner, and it's also to several others, but those are the ones, and also to Mr. Bill Elby is the name that they had got at DPI. His is bill.lb@dpi.nc.gov, and it comes from myself, and its suggested subject is forward enrollment issues. And it states, "Dear Mr. L.B. Hussey, Director of North Carolina DPI, Exceptional Children Division. As I stated, his name had been changed from the original name that I was given, so I'm using the name that she's given me to address him. Per your own statements in your September 11, 2014 dated letter you sent to me, Dorothy Cook, and I received on September 12, 2014, where you state this, where I actually have 2013, but it should be 14, where you state this reply is in regard of your email to June Axon on September the 9th, 2014, in which you express your ongoing concerns for your daughter's education. I am very sorry to hear of them, and I ask you, Mr. Huzzy, are you stating that the North Carolina State Superintendent did not send you the email below, subject enrollment issues, dated January the 23rd, 2014, and it's from June Axton to Bill Huzzy at dpi.nc.gov, among numerous others? So how can you, in your September 11, 2014 dated letter to myself, Dorothy Cook, about my daughter Megan Cook, where you now state I was very sorry to hear them, which you knew of the no education issues for Megan Cook, and as I, her mother, Dorothy Cook, informed you, but also the North Carolina State Superintendent, June Axton, did also. As the first email I found without really looking is dated January 23rd, 2014, and is from the North Carolina State Superintendent herself. And I ask you, what have you, William Huzzy, done to provide Megan Cook, a North Carolina qualified special education elementary age person in the state of North Carolina, whereby the federal government provides funds to educate such children as herself, and the North Carolina Department of Public School Systems are just not Megan Cook. And you knew of that fact and did nothing to make sure that the her North Carolina constitutional rights to a public school education as a special needs qualified elementary school age person was not violated. Per the request you knew I, her parent, has made numerous of times in documented ways directly to Wilson County Schools Attorney Rachel Hitch, per her February 18, 2013 dated letter of reprisal, and to several North Carolina DPI affiliates, including but not limited to any means to you, Mr. Bill Huzzy, as a North Carolina DPI affiliate, but not an employee of the Wilson County Schools of Wilson, North Carolina. I ask now again, what are the enrollment and attendance instructs for Megan Cook into Wilson County Schools per Rachel Hitch, Wilson County Public Schools, February the 18th, 2013 dated letter of reprisal, RE contact with school system employees and presence on school property, sending written email again, and this email, as you have a full copy sent previously in the 2013-2014 public school year to you, when the same and instructions were requested, as well as all others sent to you, Mr. Huzzy, responded to, but again, for response time's sake, in not having to looking for it before responding, as it is now September the 13th, 2014, almost 9 months from January the 23rd, 2014. Email to you from North Carolina State Superintendent, as I stated above. Dear Ms. Cook, as you are very aware, I represent the Wilson County Schools. This letter is intended to provide you with notice that you are no longer to communicate with the school employees or set foot on the campus or property of Wilson County Schools for any purpose whatsoever, due to the harassing nature of your communications with schools employees and your propensity to file unfounded complaints against school system employees to be present on the Wilson County Schools property. All communication regarding your pending due process petition or otherwise involving any of your children will be directed to and received from myself as the attorney for the Wilson County Schools. If you contact Wilson County Schools employees, they will not respond. If you disregard this letter and are present on school system property, you will be subjected to criminal prosecution under the North Carolina General Statute, Chapter 14R22B. There are no circumstances under which school officials should have to fear baseless allegations or for their own safety, particularly from a parent with no children in the school system, while they are trying to go about their normal duties. There are significant potential consequences if you fail to regard this notice with the seriousness within which it is intended. The school system regrets that this action is necessary, but adamantly believes it to be so based upon your conduct. And it has Mrs. Dorothy Cook, February 18, 2013, page 2. Very truly yours, Rachel B. Hitch. It's CC to Sean Bolson, the superintendent. That was the actual letter that Wilson County Schools attorney Rachel B. Hitch sent to me after doing a court procedure for a case that I filed, or a petition that I filed with the North Carolina Office of Administrative Hearing Special Education Contested Court case on the behalf of my daughter Megan Cook. But on February 18, 2013, during the required resolution meeting, court procedure of that petition that I filed with the North Carolina Office of Administrative Hearing, I was actually physically assaulted, held in a room, and kidnapped by Wilson County Schools and their affiliates. The persons that were there, that participants in that court procedure. And actually there was things that took place that did detrimental harm to my health, in which it left me in there and not having the ability to homeschool my daughter anymore. And it has gone on from there. And even with the letter, when I received that letter, I have, during that meeting also, the school system knew Vivian Roach is the one that actually, the EC director is the one that actually assaulted me and did those things. But all at that same time, she is a professional EC director. And my concerns were if she would do these things to me, and I'm an adult with disabilities that she knew I had, such as 2 growths on the right side of my brain, such as having epilepsy, I have seizures, I have panic attacks, I have anxiety attacks. And these issues that she knew prior and had documented, you know, that those things were actually my health conditions, my disabilities, and which she intentionally triggered by holding me captive, by assaulting me. And all because I did not receive my child's records, my daughter Megan Cook records. So I refused to close out, terminate a meeting as she asked me to. And I did not, simply because, you know, I was not prepared for that meeting, because I could not be prepared. The school system had not provided me my daughter's school record, Wilson County Schools record, when she was attending Wilson County Public Schools. So we needed to discuss that. And they did not provide the record. But when I did not terminate the meeting, Vivian Roach got angry, walked out of that room, slammed the door, came back and slammed down a large stack of papers in front of me, in which I asked her, was it my daughter's records? And she responded, yes. So I said, this meeting is over because y'all are very deceptive. Because at first she was saying that they had given my daughter's records to my daughter's attorney. But, you know, our attorney, and I explained to her that we didn't have an attorney. Simply because our case was filed pro se, and it was why the Wilson County Schools attorney was not there also. But the Wilson County Schools attorney, Rachel B. Hitch, during the process of my being assaulted and kidnapped and held in the room over the issue of my trying to take my daughter's records and leave. And the EC director prevented me from doing so. And which I found out what she did was, and she didn't say it, but what she did was went in her office and got the original copies of my daughter's records. And the reason she didn't want me to leave with those original copies of my daughter's records would have been because she would have lost her job and her license to be an EC director in the state of North Carolina. And she did what she had to do to prevent that from happening. But she never said to me that those are the original records. Not at any time. I had no knowledge of there being her original records. And she even stated to me that those records, you know, was like FERPA. I advised her that FERPA says that I, as her parent, can have her records. And she acknowledges, yes, you can. But then she gets combative. She snatches my hand off, the papers out of my hand. Then she snatches my hands off the door when I'm trying to leave. And I ended up having a seizure, a panic attack, or whatever it is. I had But I came through and I was laying on the floor and they was just watching. The Wilson County Schools employees was just watching. And that concerned me greatly because, you know, I could have died. And they didn't even die, didn't even have enough compassion to call 911 for assistance. And after that, I was still being held in the room and not allowed to leave. But there was another man that came in, a Caucasian male. They never tell me any names, but the Caucasian male came in, and he did ask, you know, what the problem was. And at that particular time, I got off the floor and gathered myself to sit in a chair. And, you know, he was saying, they was telling him, and he was saying that I could have a copy of my daughter's records. Because prior to that, they had called Rachel Hitch, which is their attorney, Wilson County Schools attorney, Rachel Hitch, and asked her for her input. And according to what they said, she said, no, I could not have another copy of my daughter's records. But what I did find is that when I realized that, you know, they was not allowing me to leave, my benefit was to contact the North Carolina Office of Administrative Hearing and find out what is going on. Because I actually never believed something of that nature could happen in a court procedure. And when speaking to that young lady, she advises me that she doesn't even have for my court case, there is no, you know, particular meeting or a resolution meeting that's supposed to have been taking place on that day. And the only thing that she saw was there would be a conference call held in March. But I was in the meeting, February the 18th, 2013, in the court procedure. And that concerned me greatly. But better yet is still, to prevent her clients, Vivian Roach, Wilson County Schools, from being criminally prosecuted for what they did to me, knowing that I was a pro se rep in that case, she prohibited me contact or any communication with them and only with her. And that is a violation of my freedom of speech. And added, she has no right to deny me my right to due process. My right to be able to cross-examine those that have assaulted me. Or my right to be able to confront those that have, you know, said that even her, have alleged that I communicated my nature of communication of harass her employee or harass her clients, and which I did not. It's been over 2 years now. I've asked Rachel Hitch for any evidence that she has because I denied it. I'm innocent of it. I didn't do it. And I asked her for any evidence that she has that said that I did, the names of all the employees for Wilson County Schools that said I've done such a thing, in which I have not received any as of yet. I've asked if this letter is still valid, but better yet is still, they're using this letter to prevent my children from enrolling into Wilson County Public Schools. And they're going without any education at all. And it's wrong. I didn't write the letter. Rachel B. Hitch did. I filed complaints with the North Carolina State Bar. The majority of the court case information that I had was done by email. But according to the North Carolina State Bar and Mrs. Diane Melching, the North Carolina State Bar email system doesn't have the capacity or the ability to receive the capacity of emails that I sent as evidence against Rachel B. Hitch. And therefore, per that, my case would not be, you know, the allegations would not be investigated. And which I say is very much wrong. But I'm also, and I'm asking you to contact the North Carolina General Assembly, most importantly, and ask them, demand that they also include the North Carolina Office of North Carolina Public School System in the North Carolina Attendance Law. And call your local district attorney's office if you live in North Carolina and ask them if there is accountability for the North Carolina public school system or public school officials, even in your state, even in your city. Because things that they're doing is unjust. But it's time for change. It's time for change. Or either you can call mine, it's Wilson County's, Wilson, North Carolina, the Wilson County District Attorney's Office, and ask for yourself whether or not there is some accountability for criminal prosecution of the North Carolina public school officials. Because there's not. But I ask you to please get it in place. Thank you.